two coaches who defined the AFC North for nearly 2 decades. One fired 2 days after a missed field goal. One resigned 7 days later. He'd told one friend it would be his last season, nobody else. Both gone within a week. But first, how we got here. December 28, 2003, Baltimore Ravens 13, Pittsburgh Steelers 10. A meaningless game. Baltimore had already clinched the playoffs. Pittsburgh's season was over. It didn't matter. Billick played his starters anyway, just to embarrass them. He won by 3 points. That decision would haunt everyone who touched it for the next 22 years. 48 games, broken noses, playoff heartbreaks, one-score torture. The kind of football that shouldn't be played in a stadium. It should be settled in a back alley at midnight. Mike Tomlin, 19 years as Pittsburgh's head coach. Never a losing season, 600 winning percentage. Steelers fans chanted "Fire Tomlin" in 2025. John Harbaugh, Super Bowl champion, Baltimore's winningest coach ever. Ravens fans were ready to move on by 2025 and got their wish 2 days after the season ended on a missed field goal in Pittsburgh that cost them the division. How does success feel like failure? Ask a Pittsburgh or Baltimore fan. They'll tell you, because beating them was the only thing that mattered, and no one could do it enough. This is the story of the Steelers and the Ravens. Steelers Nation and the Ravens flock. Mike Tomlin and John Harbaugh. But it all starts with one spite-filled decision in 2003. Art Modell tore the heart out of Cleveland in 1996. He moved the Browns to Baltimore in the middle of the night. The fan base that had stuck with him through every losing season watched their team vanish. Pittsburgh had lost their oldest rival, but they were about to gain something worse. September 8, 1996, Three Rivers Stadium. The Baltimore Ravens played their first ever game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh 31, Baltimore 17. The boos rained down every time a Raven touched the ball. This wasn't just another division opponent. This was Cleveland's ghost wearing purple. The Ravens weren't just another team. They were built from spite. Every player Art Modell signed, every coach he hired, every dollar he spent, it was all pointed at one thing, proving he'd made the right choice. They split the series that first year, 1 win each. Close games, ugly games, the kind of games where both sidelines look exhausted at the end. Nobody knew it yet, but this was the template, the humiliation. September 3rd, 2000, Three Rivers Stadium. Baltimore's defense shut out the Steelers 16-0. Not a single point, not a single touchdown, not even a field goal. Shannon Sharpe twisted the knife afterward. They have some real problems that they need to have addressed. That's probably the worst in my 11 years that I've seen a Steelers team look. Pittsburgh had been humiliated in their own house, but the Ravens weren't done. October 29th, 2000. PSI Net Stadium in Baltimore. Pittsburgh 9, Baltimore 6. 3 field goals to 2. No touchdowns for either team. The final score looked like a baseball game. Bill Cowher fired back weeks later with barely concealed fury. Can you guys please go tell Shannon Sharpe that our problems here are fine? And I appreciate his concern. Tell him we're fine. Thanks. This was the beginning of something nobody wanted. Rock fights, slugfests. Games where winning felt like losing because the next one was already circled on the calendar. The Ravens won the Super Bowl that year. Pittsburgh watched from home. The series stayed brutal. One-score games, defensive wars. Both teams left every matchup battered. By 2003, the pettiness had reached its peak. Pittsburgh missed the playoffs. Their season was over. Draft position mattered. Baltimore had clinched. Their playoff spot was locked. Week 17, December 28th, 2003. M&T Bank Stadium. A meaningless game. Billick could have rested his starters, protected them for the playoffs, played it safe. He played them anyway. Jamal Lewis rushed for 114 yards. The defense held Pittsburgh to 10 points. Baltimore 13, Pittsburgh 10. It didn't mean anything. It didn't change the standings. It didn't affect the playoffs. Billick won by 3 points in a game that didn't matter, just to prove he could. Bill Cowher walked into the locker room after and didn't say a word. His team sat there in silence, staring at the floor. They'd been embarrassed. Again. By a team that had nothing to gain. The Steelers finished 6-10. The 11th pick in the 2004 draft. 4 months later, they selected Ben Roethlisberger, a quarterback from Miami of Ohio who could absorb punishment. He'd need to. The new era begins. Roethlisberger won a Super Bowl his second year, then another one 3 years later. The Ravens won one too in 2012, championships for both teams, but the games between them stayed miserable. By 2007, both coaches were exhausted. Billick and Cowher had beaten each other bloody for a decade. The series record was nearly even. The games were never easy. The wins never felt like wins. Cowher retired after the 2006 season. In January 2007, the Steelers surprised the NFL by hiring Vikings defensive coordinator Mike Tomlin, 35 years old, who'd never been a head coach, the youngest head coach in franchise history. Tomlin's first season, 2007, he faced Billick twice, split the series. Both games decided by one score. Then Baltimore fired Billick. January 2008, the Ravens hired John Harbaugh, a 45-year-old special teams coordinator who'd never called a play on offense or defense. The spite decision from 2003 hadn't created a curse. It had just been the first example of how petty this rivalry could get. And for the next 18 years, two new coaches would inherit that pattern. Close games, brutal hits, exhaustion even when you won, one-score torture. September 29th, 2008, Heinz Field. Harbaugh's first game against Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh 23, Baltimore 20. Pittsburgh won Harbaugh's first meeting with Tomlin. The pattern was already forming. December 14th, 2008, M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore. The AFC North title was on the line. Pittsburgh trailed 9-6 late in the fourth quarter. The Ravens were minutes away from their first division win under Harbaugh. Then, with 43 seconds remaining, Ben Roethlisberger threw a 4-yard pass to Santonio Holmes near the goal line. The officials ruled him short. Baltimore's sideline erupted, but instant replay overturned the call. Touchdown. Steelers 13, Ravens 9. Pittsburgh won the division. Baltimore took the wild card. They would meet again in January. January 18th, 2009. AFC Championship game, Heinz Field. Pittsburgh 23, Baltimore 14. Winner goes to the Super Bowl. The Ravens fought. They clawed. They hit harder than anyone had all season. Willis McGahee was hospitalized after Ryan Clark's hit in the third quarter. The collision could be heard in the upper deck. It didn't matter. Pittsburgh controlled the clock, ground them down, wore them out. Ben converted third downs. The defense held when it mattered. The final score wasn't close, but the game felt like it lasted 4 hours. Harbaugh walked off the field with his hands on his hips, staring at the turf. His first season had ended with a playoff loss to Pittsburgh. 2 weeks later, Tomlin won Super Bowl 43. The pattern from the Billick-Cowher era was repeating itself. One coach with championships, one coach with close losses. Harbaugh was 0-3 against Tomlin in his first season. All 3 games decided by less than a touchdown, but Harbaugh didn't collapse. The pattern continues. The 2009 season brought more of the same. November 29th, 2009, M&T Bank Stadium, Baltimore 20, Pittsburgh 17, overtime, another 3-point margin. December 27th, 2009, Heinz Field, Pittsburgh 23, Baltimore 20. The games weren't just close, they were suffocating. Every possession mattered. Every third down felt like sudden death. Every field goal attempt carried the weight of the entire season. Both coaching staffs left these games exhausted. The brutality reached a new level. October 3rd, 2010, Heinz Field, Baltimore 17, Pittsburgh 14. The Ravens' defense smothered Ben all afternoon. Every throw was contested. Every pocket collapsed early. Baltimore won by 3. Statement made. December 5th, 2010, M&T Bank Stadium, Pittsburgh 13, Baltimore 10. Both teams came in 8-3. This was for divisional bragging rights. Sunday night under the lights in Baltimore. First quarter, Haloti Ngata and Terrell Suggs crashed through the line in tandem. Ngata's massive right paw clubbed Ben square in the face mask. Blood everywhere. Ben's nose was shattered. X-rays later showed the bones looked like cornflakes. He didn't miss a single snap. Ben came back, blood still on his jersey, and threw the game-winning touchdown to Isaac Redman with 2:51 left. Pittsburgh won by 3 in Baltimore with a broken nose. Months later, John Harbaugh twisted the knife. I was glad we broke his nose. That wasn't trash talk. That was a declaration of war. Feels like every single game decided by one score. This wasn't about playoff seeding or draft picks or coaching legacies. It was about beating them, just them, twice a year, every year. By the end of 2010, Tomlin's record against Harbaugh stood at 6-2. Feels like every single game decided by one score. 3 years into coaching against each other, the numbers told the story. Tomlin, 1 Super Bowl ring, winning record against Baltimore. Harbaugh, no championships yet, losing record against Pittsburgh. But the margins were microscopic. Harbaugh wasn't getting blown out. He wasn't getting embarrassed. He was losing by 3 points, by 4 points, by field goals in the final minutes. The kind of losses that make you want to put your fist through a wall. The Ravens finished the 2010 season 12-4, won the AFC North. The Steelers finished 12-4, wild card. Identical records, opposite seeds. They were headed for the playoffs again. 3rd and 19, January 15th, 2011, AFC Divisional Round, Heinz Field. Pittsburgh hosting Baltimore, the road, the hostile crowd. 70,000 Steelers fans screaming, but Baltimore led 21-7 at halftime, then 21-21 at the end of the 3rd quarter. The defense was flying around. Ben couldn't find rhythm. Everything was working. Ray Rice rumbled through Pittsburgh's defense. Joe Flacco stayed calm in the pocket. Pittsburgh took the lead 24-21. Baltimore answered to tie it 24-24. One stop away from winning in Pittsburgh. One stop away from finally beating Tomlin in the playoffs. 2 minutes left. Pittsburgh had the ball on their own 42-yard line. 3rd down, 19 yards to go. 3rd and 19. Baltimore just needed one stop. 3 more seconds of pressure, 1 incomplete pass, the game would be over. Harbaugh would finally beat Tomlin in the playoffs. Ben Roethlisberger dropped back. The pocket collapsed instantly. Ray Lewis and Terrell Suggs closing in. Ben scrambled right, bought time, threw deep downfield. Antonio Brown, 58 yards away. He caught it at the Baltimore 16-yard line. 1st down. Heinz Field exploded. Baltimore's sideline collapsed. 2 plays later, Rashard Mendenhall scored from 2 yards out. Pittsburgh 31, Baltimore 24. The clock hit 0. Harbaugh stood on the sideline, hands on his hips, staring at the turf. His defense had done everything right. Gotten to 3rd and 19, collapsed the pocket, and it still wasn't enough. Torrey Smith, Baltimore's receiver, would say years later, "I don't think I'll ever be able to live that one down. No matter where I go in Baltimore, everyone's like, Steelers game, Steelers game, Steelers game." 3rd and 19. The play that should have ended the game instead ended Baltimore's season. Harbaugh was now 0-3 against Tomlin in the playoffs, but he didn't collapse. September 11th, 2011, M&T Bank Stadium, season opener. Baltimore 35, Pittsburgh 7. Finally, a statement. Ray Rice ran for 107 yards. Joe Flacco threw 3 touchdowns. The defense suffocated Ben from the opening kickoff. For one game, the torture stopped. The Ravens dominated. The Steelers looked lost. Baltimore fans left the stadium thinking maybe, just maybe, this year would be different. The memory of 3rd and 19 from 9 months earlier still burned, but today they had an answer. But November 6, 2011, at Heinz Field reminded everyone nothing had changed. Baltimore 23, Pittsburgh 20. One score. Always one score. Baltimore won the division. Pittsburgh took the wild card. The Ravens went to the playoffs as the number 2 seed. They beat Houston 20-13 in the divisional round. Then they traveled to Foxborough for the AFC Championship game. January 22nd, 2012. New England Patriots 23, Baltimore Ravens 20. They were 1 play away from the Super Bowl. With 22 seconds left, Joe Flacco threw to Lee Evans in the end zone. Evans had it. Touchdown. Super Bowl. Patriots cornerback Sterling Moore stripped the ball from Evans' hands at the last second. Incomplete. 1 more chance. Billy Cundiff lined up for a 32-yard field goal with 11 seconds left. Make it, go to overtime. Miss it, go home. Cundiff missed wide left. Season over. Harbaugh walked off the field at Gillette Stadium. Another playoff loss. Another year without a championship. He was now 0-4 against the Patriots and Steelers in the playoffs, but he didn't collapse. Harbaugh's job felt shaky. The window was closing on Ray Lewis, Ed Reed, and the aging defense. The 2012 season started rough. Baltimore struggled through September and October. Then they got hot in November. Wild card, divisional, AFC Championship in Foxborough. Baltimore beat Tom Brady and the Patriots in New England in January. February 3rd, 2013, Super Bowl 47, New Orleans. Baltimore 34, San Francisco 31. John Harbaugh beat his own brother to win the championship. Ray Lewis retired with the ring. Ed Reed got his vindication. Harbaugh had proven himself. Pittsburgh had 2 Super Bowl rings under Tomlin. Now Harbaugh had 1. They were both champions. finally. But the rivalry didn't care about Super Bowls. October 20th, 2013, Heinz Field. Pittsburgh 19, Baltimore 16. The first game after Harbaugh's championship, a 3-point loss. Thanksgiving week, November 28th, 2013, M&T Bank Stadium. Baltimore 22, Pittsburgh 20. The teams split the season series. Both games decided by 3 points or less. Harbaugh had a Super Bowl ring now. It didn't make losing to Pittsburgh hurt any less. 2014 brought chaos. September 11th, 2014, M&T Bank Stadium. Baltimore 26, Pittsburgh 6. Finally, a blowout. Baltimore dominated from start to finish. The curse was broken. The torture was over. November 2nd, 2014, Heinz Field. Pittsburgh 43, Baltimore 23. Never mind. Pittsburgh responded with their own blowout. Split series, same as always. The pattern held, but the playoffs were different. January 3rd, 2015, AFC Wild Card Round. Heinz Field. Ravens 30, Steelers 17. For the first time ever, Baltimore won a playoff game in Pittsburgh. Joe Flacco threw for 259 yards and 2 touchdowns. The defense sacked Ben 5 times. Terrell Suggs made a juggling interception between his legs in the fourth quarter, the Thigh Master play. The Steelers were missing Le'Veon Bell. It showed. Harbaugh walked off the field at Heinz Field with a playoff win. Finally, he was now 1-3 against Tomlin in the postseason. The exorcism was incomplete, but it was progress. October 1st, 2015, Heinz Field. Baltimore 23, Pittsburgh 20 in overtime. December 27th, 2015, M&T Bank Stadium. Baltimore 20, Pittsburgh 17. Baltimore swept the season series for the first time in years, but by now, both coaching staffs knew the truth. Winning the season series didn't matter. The game still felt like torture. The margins were still razor thin. One injury, one bad bounce, and everything flipped. By the end of 2015, Tomlin's record against Harbaugh stood at 14-10. 12 years since the 2003 spite decision that set everything in motion. Harbaugh had his Super Bowl ring now. He'd proven himself as one of the league's best coaches, but the losses to Pittsburgh still stung more than any championship felt good. That's what this rivalry did. It made success feel hollow because the only victory that mattered was beating them, and neither coach could do it consistently enough to feel satisfied. The games were destroying both of them slowly, one score at a time. They both kept winning. They both kept suffering. By 2016, the rivalry had evolved past hatred into something closer to mutual PTSD. Neither fan base could watch these games without checking their pulse afterward. The teams had played 46 times since the move, 29 decided by one score. The margin separating the franchises over 2 decades, 18 total points, one score, always one score. 2 games in 2016. The first, on November 6th at M&T Bank Stadium, set the tone. Baltimore led 21-7 in the fourth quarter. Then the Steelers clawed back. Antonio Brown caught 1 touchdown. With 2 minutes and 1 second left, Pittsburgh had the ball down 7, driving. Ben Roethlisberger threw into the end zone. Eric Weddle intercepted. Ravens 21, Steelers 14. But the season wasn't done with either team. The second meeting fell on Christmas Day at Heinz Field, Steve Smith Sr.'s final season, his last ride through the rivalry that had given him some of his most vicious moments. Baltimore jumped ahead 14-7 in the third quarter when Smith caught an 18-yard touchdown from Joe Flacco and then caught the 2-point conversion himself. Justin Tucker kicked a field goal. Ravens led 20-10 in the fourth quarter. Pittsburgh had 9 minutes to save Christmas. Le'Veon Bell scored on a 7-yard run with 11 minutes and 41 seconds left, 20-17. Bell caught a 7-yard touchdown pass with 7 minutes and 16 seconds remaining, 24-20 Pittsburgh. But Baltimore wasn't finished. Kyle Juszczyk powered in from 10 yards out with 1 minute and 18 seconds on the clock. Ravens 27, Steelers 24. Roethlisberger had 78 seconds and no timeouts. He hit Eli Rogers for 18 yards, Darius Hayward-Bay for 17, Antonio Brown for 14 to the Baltimore 9-yard line. 9 seconds left. Roethlisberger snapped the ball with 4 seconds showing. He rolled right. Baltimore's rush closing. He threw back across his body to Antonio Brown in the end zone. Brown caught it with 9 seconds left. Steelers 31, Ravens 27. They called it the Immaculate Extension because Roethlisberger somehow extended the season by holding off Baltimore one more time. Pittsburgh played Thanksgiving against Indianapolis, won 28-7. Christmas against Baltimore, won 31-27. New Year's Day against Cleveland, won 27-24 in overtime. 3 holidays, 3 family dinners interrupted by one-score torture. The Steelers won all 3. Nobody felt like celebrating. Fathers screamed at televisions while turkey went cold. Mothers texted relatives they'd call back after the game. Kids learned new words they weren't supposed to repeat at school. The 2016 season made Pittsburgh 11-5, good enough for the playoffs, not good enough to escape the Baltimore section of their nightmares. But the rivalry kept evolving. By 2017, both teams were transitioning. Joe Flacco's body had absorbed too many hits. His deep ball had lost its zip. The Ravens leaned harder on defense, harder on Justin Tucker's right leg, harder on winning games 16-13 instead of 35-31. Pittsburgh still had Roethlisberger, Brown, and Bell, but the window was closing. Bell held out in 2018, demanding a contract the Steelers wouldn't give. Brown's relationship with the organization was fracturing. The dynasty that should have won multiple Super Bowls had exactly 2 to show for 15 years of contending. And through it all, twice a year, they still had to play Baltimore. By 2018, Baltimore was transitioning. They'd started the season 4-5, replaced Flacco with rookie Lamar Jackson mid-season. The change sparked something, but the games against Pittsburgh stayed the same. Close, brutal, one-score torture that made both teams leave the field exhausted, regardless of who won. But 2019 proved one-score hell doesn't care who's winning. Baltimore went 14-2 in the regular season. Jackson won MVP. The Ravens scored 30 points per game, ran the ball like it was 1975, and looked unstoppable. They beat Pittsburgh 26-23 in overtime in Week 5 and 28-10 in the regular season finale with nothing on the line. Then came the playoffs. Baltimore hosted Tennessee in the divisional round as a 10-point favorite. The Ravens hadn't lost at home all season. Derrick Henry ran for 195 yards. Tennessee won 28-12. Baltimore's dream season ended in one afternoon. Pittsburgh, meanwhile, had gone 8-8 and missed the playoffs for the second straight year. The Steelers' window had closed. Roethlisberger needed elbow surgery. Brown was gone. Bell was gone. The dynasty was over, but the rivalry wasn't. 2020 brought a pandemic, empty stadiums, and the strangest version of football anyone had ever seen. Baltimore and Pittsburgh met twice in the regular season. November 1st at M&T Bank Stadium, December 2nd at Heinz Field. The Thanksgiving game was postponed 4 times due to COVID outbreaks. It finally kicked off on Wednesday afternoon, December 2nd at 3:40 p.m. Eastern. No fans, just echoes in Heinz Field. The November 1st game at Baltimore saw Pittsburgh win 28-24. The Steelers were 6-0. Baltimore was 5-2. Another one-score game. But the second meeting was different. Pittsburgh was 11-0, still undefeated. Joe Hayden intercepted Lamar Jackson in the first quarter and returned it for a touchdown. Juju Smith-Schuster caught a touchdown pass. Chris Boswell added 2 field goals. Baltimore scored 2 touchdowns but couldn't overcome Pittsburgh's early lead. Pittsburgh 19, Baltimore 14. The Steelers remained undefeated for one more week. The next week, Washington ended it. Pittsburgh lost 23-17, then Buffalo, then Cincinnati. 3 straight losses. The undefeated dream collapsed in 3 weeks. Pittsburgh finished 12-4 and hosted Cleveland in the wild card round. The Steelers lost 48-37. Roethlisberger threw 4 interceptions. The dynasty was officially dead. Baltimore went 11-5 and lost to Buffalo in the divisional round. Both teams had winning records. Both teams went home early. Nobody won. Everyone survived. Ben Roethlisberger retired after the 2021 season. 18 years of getting hit by Baltimore linebackers. 18 years of one-score games. His body couldn't take another season. The quarterback that Brian Billick's spite decision created was finally gone. But the pattern remained. The new era Pittsburgh entered 2022 with Kenny Pickett, a rookie from Pitt. Baltimore had Lamar Jackson, the 2019 MVP who'd spent his entire career trying to prove he could beat the Steelers when it mattered. The coaches were still there. Tomlin, Harbaugh, both still winning, both still suffering. The 2022 season followed the script perfectly. Week 14 at Acrisure Stadium, Ravens 16, Steelers 14, 2 points. Week 17 at M&T Bank Stadium, Steelers 16, Ravens 13, 3 points. One score, always one score. The fan bases break. By 2024, both fan bases had reached their breaking point. Pittsburgh went 10-7 and made the playoffs. Tomlin's 18th straight non-losing season, an NFL record. The Steelers were the model of sustained success in a league built for parity. The rivalry had poisoned the definition of success. Baltimore wasn't any different. Harbaugh had been the Ravens' head coach since 2008. 16 seasons, a Super Bowl championship, multiple playoff runs, one of the winningest coaches in franchise history. By early 2025, Ravens fans were openly discussing moving on. Not because Harbaugh was failing, because he couldn't beat Pittsburgh consistently enough. The 2025 season gave both teams one last chance to prove something. Week 14, December 7, 2025, M&T Bank Stadium. Pittsburgh 27, Baltimore 22. The Steelers jumped ahead early. Aaron Rodgers threw for 284 yards and rushed for a touchdown. Baltimore clawed back late, but a potential touchdown with 2 minutes 43 seconds remaining was overturned by replay. Pittsburgh held on, 5-point margin, but still one score. The pattern remained, but the calendar wasn't done. January 4th, 2026, regular season finale, Acrisure Stadium. AFC North title on the line. Baltimore came into the game 8-8, Pittsburgh 9-7. Winner took the AFC North title, loser went home, and maybe loses their coach. No wild card safety net, just win or the season ends. The rivalry had spent 30 years torturing both teams. This was just one more Sunday. The game was chaos from the opening kickoff. Baltimore led 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. Pittsburgh fought back to make it 10-3 Ravens at halftime. The third quarter was a war. By the fourth quarter, both teams were exhausted. Both fan bases were checking their heart rates. Then the final 5 drives happened. 8:42 left in the fourth quarter. Baltimore 17, Pittsburgh 13. Zay Flowers caught a 50-yard touchdown from Lamar Jackson. Ravens fans finally exhaled. 4-point lead, 8 minutes left. Just hold on. But Pittsburgh wasn't done. 3 minutes, 49 seconds remaining. Aaron Rodgers led a touchdown drive. Kenneth Gainwell scored from 2 yards out. Steelers 20, Ravens 17. Baltimore's sideline went quiet. Here we go again. Another one-score game slipping away in the final minutes. 2:20 left. Lamar Jackson took over. He found Zay Flowers again, this time for 64 yards. Touchdown. Ravens 24, Steelers 20. The Pittsburgh crowd went silent. 2 minutes left. 4-point lead. Baltimore just needed one stop, one defensive series. 3 minutes of not collapsing. They'd done this before. They could do it again. But the Steelers had done this before too. 55 seconds left. Pittsburgh drove down the field with no timeouts and the clock bleeding. Aaron Rodgers threw a 26-yard touchdown to Calvin Austin III. The extra point would tie it. Chris Boswell lined up for the kick. The snap was good. The hold was good. The kick was barely blocked. Most thought he missed it that night, but the league ruled it a block the next day. Pittsburgh led 26-24, but they'd left time on the clock. 55 seconds. Lamar Jackson had 55 seconds and 3 timeouts. The kickoff return gave Baltimore the ball at their own 47-yard line. First play. Lamar hit Devontae Walker for 8 yards out of bounds at the Pittsburgh 45. Second play. Lamar found Mark Andrews for 4 yards, but the play was wiped out by an illegal formation penalty on Ronnie Stanley. 5 yards back. Third play, incomplete to DeAndre Hopkins. Fourth play, incomplete. 3rd and 7 from midfield. Harbaugh called his first timeout. 21 seconds left. Lamar took the snap in shotgun. TJ Watt came off the edge, closing fast. Lamar stepped up and launched the ball deep down the left sideline. Isaiah Likely ran underneath it at the 24-yard line. Jalen Ramsey was in perfect position, draped all over him. The ball threaded between them. Likely caught it. First down at the Pittsburgh 24. Harbaugh called his second timeout. 14 seconds left. Lamar took the snap and kneeled down, losing 2 yards to center the ball at the 26-yard line. Harbaugh called his final timeout. 2 seconds left. 44-yard field goal attempt. Make it, win the division. Miss it, lose everything. The kicker jogging onto the field was Tyler Loop, a 6th-round rookie. Baltimore had parted ways with Justin Tucker in May, the most accurate kicker in NFL history, gone after off-field issues forced the organization's hand. If Tucker was taking this kick, Baltimore fans knew how it would end, but Tucker wasn't there. Loop lined up. 44 yards to win the division. The snap was good. The hold was good. Loop's kick started right. It stayed right. Wide right. no good. Game over. Pittsburgh 26, Baltimore 24. The Steelers had won the AFC North again in a one-score game again. Baltimore had lost by 2 points without the most reliable kicker in football history. Mike Tomlin improved to 22-17 against the Ravens. John Harbaugh fell to 17-22 against the Steelers. Both coaches had winning records. Both had Super Bowl championships. Both were Hall of Fame locks. And both cities wanted them fired. Because in 30 years, the rivalry had made one thing clear: winning wasn't enough. Success wasn't enough. The only thing that mattered was beating them, and no one could do it consistently enough to feel like it was working. Brian Billick made a spite decision in 2003 to embarrass a 6-9 team in a meaningless game. 22 years later, that decision was still making grown men miserable. The quarterback it created was gone, but the one-score hell remained. 2 days later, John Harbaugh was fired. 18 years, 180 wins, 1 Super Bowl championship, gone. 7 days after that, Mike Tomlin walked into the Steelers facility and told Art Rooney the second he was stepping down. 19 years. Tied Chuck Noll with 193 wins, 1 Super Bowl championship, never a losing season, now gone. Tomlin arrived in 2007. Harbaugh followed a year later. Both won championships. Both made each other miserable for nearly 2 decades. And now, within a single week in January 2026, both were gone. Harbaugh was fired after a missed field goal. Tomlin had known for a year it would be his last season. He told one friend. He didn't tell his players until the day he left. The spite decision from 2003 had outlasted both of them. 22 years of one-score torture, 48 games, broken noses, playoff heartbreaks. The coaches who carried it forward are gone. New coaches will inherit it. And somewhere, Brian Billick is watching, knowing that his meaningless win in 2003 created something that outlasted him, outlasted Cowher, outlasted Harbaugh, and now outlasted Tomlin. The one-score hell remains, always. If you want to see more rivalry deep dives or Where Are They Now nostalgia, please like, subscribe, and let us know which matchups you want next in the comments below. If you like this video, we think you will love one of the videos on the screen right now.